Hello and welcome to my podcast, What I Find Funny. My name is Deb Sherritt, and I'm delighted to have you join me for the next few minutes while I share with you an experience that either made me laugh out loud, shake my head, or just wonder what on earth people are thinking. People can do or say the funniest things, and, well, I've just made it my responsibility to inform you. So on this episode, I'm going to tell you a bit more about my Honeybunch. Now, he's a very cerebral and shy guy. The man doesn't say much, frankly, when do I let him? But when he does, it's generally a good idea to drop everything and listen, especially when he's telling you about something he's building. I'm not too sure if you know our origin story, so here goes. We met on a blind date on New Year's Eve. He proposed 5 weeks later, and we were married 6 months after that. And this year is our 28th year together. To say we really knew one another would be crazy, but what we did know was we had the same fundamental outlook on life, and we loved each other deeply. I really had no idea of the mind of the man I married, what he was capable of, or more importantly, how much our lives would be all the better for it. I mean, he's excellent at fixing around the house. Rarely do we need to call an expert because Honeybunch is truly a jack of all trades. Brilliant. It's when he allows the boy inside to take over that things start to worry me. His younger self wants to build rockets and things that would shoot things into the air or at targets, mostly at his older brother Kevin. Well, for many years, we'd get together with his 3 siblings and their spouses, and we'd spend sibling weekend doing fun things, playing games, being stupid. Great food, great family, and great fun. Each couple would take turns to host the siblings, and it was up to the hosting couple to provide the food and the fun, and otherwise it was BYOB. And during these weekends, we built a trebuchet and launched pumpkins into a schoolyard. We've ridden tricycles of death that were basically tricycles put back together with PVC piping. Well, this is fine if you only wanted to ride around, but the siblings thought it would be a great idea to ride them down large hills and very long and steep driveways that would send you careening into the street below and possibly oncoming traffic. Helmets, you ask? Don't be daft. We're siblings. We don't need helmets. Well, perhaps not, but maybe body armor, as I now own a busted rib, very fondly remembering this weekend, and was told it was a noble injury. Well, when it became our turn to host Sibling Weekend, we came up with medieval games in our backyard. We collected and cut large pieces of cardboard into dental molding to make our fence look like castle walls. Honeybunch even built turrets at the corners. Once we had our castle made, we needed to make up some of the games. Honeybunch took skids and created 2 large standing slingshots using medical-grade rubber tubing for the sling and iso denim pouches to hold the cannonball. I've linked pictures down below the list of episodes so you can see exactly what we created and what I'm talking about. We also made giant targets with several target inserts because if you used the slingshot really well, it would destroy the cardboard target completely. We had jousting, but no horses and a lot less speed, and archery competitions, but the main feature of our sibling weekend was the cannonball game. We filled 500 black balloons with water, and they were meant to be shot using the slingshot. But when the first one hit its victim and left a very large, nasty red welt on her arm, we realized that the slingshot was far too powerful to use in that manner, and within seconds of that decision, all of us headed for the black cannonball water balloons, and a melee ensued. The largest water balloon fight I've ever taken part in. We were all soaking wet, aching with laughter, and we must have picked up black balloon parts for weeks afterwards. Oh, what fun! To say the slingshots were a hit was an understatement, and any time the siblings would come to our place, invariably somebody would ask us to get the slingshot out, and parts of our fence would need repairing. So on our next turn to host sibling weekend a few years later, Honeybunch had an idea. He wouldn't tell me straight away. He said he needed something to arrive in the mail, and one day Honeybunch receives a package. It was soon ripped open to reveal a paperback book called Backyard Ballistics. The smile on his face was blinding. The look on mine was a deer in headlights. This was his plan. He wanted to choose one of the items in the book to build and have fun with for sibling weekend. He spent a few days going through the book and finally settled upon the Spudzuka. Basically, it's a potato launcher. Sounds fun, right? Yeah, right. Well, I will say this. Every single sibling was excited about it and couldn't wait to see it in action. We were going to have competitions on whose shot made the loudest bang, whose shot was the best. We'd kept the large targets we'd made for medieval games, or those that survived the slingshots anyway, and we used them to shoot the Spudzuka at. Well, the very first shot took us all by surprise. It wasn't just loud, it was a sonic boom. It resonated throughout the neighborhood. It made many of us jump just from the sheer noise. It also missed the center hole of the target and hit it with such force the target was completely destroyed. But it didn't slow the potato down one iota. That sassy little spud kept up the momentum and bashed a spud-sized hole right through our fence. Well, in an effort to save the fence, we turned the Spudzuka towards the cedars in our yards in hopes that they would catch the spud. They refused. In fact, after a few shots, the neighbors were starting to come out of their houses to wonder where the loud shots were coming from. And not wanting to have the police called on us, we decided to put the Spudzuka away for the remainder of the day and give our fence a break and our neighbors some rest. Well, Honeybunch still has the Spudzuka and one of the stand-up slingshots, and every once in a while he'll get a glint in his eye and head downstairs to his shop, going through the Backyard Ballistics book, looking for another way to wreak havoc in our backyard or on our fence or with our neighbors. For such a quiet guy, he sure does make a lot of noise. And that is what I find funny. I'm happy you joined me for today's episode. I'm dedicating this episode to my brother-in-law, Kevin, who suddenly passed in January of 2022. He was always Honeybunch's main target when we all got together, and it's those memories and the silliness of this man that keeps us all laughing and finding the funny where we can. I hope you can too. Take care.